Hello again to all my friends. Glad to have you with me at the museum. This is our 45 RPM vinyl records collection, part 26. And we are a bit over halfway through, so there may not be 50 episodes in this series, but we're going to come close. And starting up here, 26, with John Cougar Mellencamp doing Small Town. I can breathe in a small town. And this one's a really cool 45 RPM vinyl because the B-side is something special. It's an acoustic version of Small Town, which is not on the Scarecrow album. So, really cool to have that there. And that was our last John Cougar. There was some more in the last episode, so be sure to watch that one if you want to see some more John Cougar. And next up, we got John Fred and his Playboy band doing Judy in Disguise with the glasses on. And it hit #1 in December of 1967. And the B-side on that is When the Lights Go Out. When the lights go out. And here's another copy of the exact same release, but you'll notice that Ernie's copy is a completely different color. Has the exact same songs on the exact same sides, but this one's white, this one's kind of cream colored. So, very interesting. Two copies. The only difference is the color on the label. So, makes that kind of unique. And next up, we've got John Denver. And this was where the brother-in-law's tattoo came from. Rocky Mountain High in Colorado. Yeah, he's got an eagle with Rocky Mountain and High underneath it on his shoulder there. And it has nothing to do with him liking the reefer. It has everything to do with him liking John Denver. B-side being a song called Spring. Yeah, you know how those tattoos are. I'm ink-free myself, but I understand why people do it and why people would want it. I would have had the Led Zeppelin Swan song on my shoulder had the tattoo shop been open the day that me and some of my army buddies went down to get tatted up. And here we've got John Fogerty, and not one of his songs I'm actually very familiar with at all. Change in the Weather. Don't know this one. Big fan of Old Man Down the Road and Center Field. He's had some good solo tunes. Nothing like the awesome volume of work that he put out with CCR, but he's had his hits. And Change in the Weather might be one of them, but it's not one that clicks for me. And B-side being a song called My Toot Toot, which I do believe is a remake by him. It's a cover version of another song. I don't know who S. Simeon is, but it's not J.C. Fogerty, that's for sure. All right, so now we've got a nice batch to look through here of some John Lennons. And some of these may have been covered in the Beatles videos that I did, because I did a bunch of previous Beatles and the solo releases by the Beatles artists. They're up on the channel. Please do take time to go to the homepage of the channel and search back catalog. I've got hundreds, literally hundreds of these videos already posted up on the channel for you to enjoy. This one here is Imagine, which everybody knows that song. I don't need to sing any of that to you. And the B-side being It's So Hard, which thankfully is still a John Lennon song. A lot of his singles followed suit, like the albums with him and Yoko taking turns doing songs. I never cared for the Yoko songs. Don't have much appreciation for her. I don't blame her for breaking up the Beatles like so many people do. I think they were doomed to fail, not to fail, but to part their ways anyways. She might have just sped it along a little, possibly, but it was going to happen anyway, so don't blame Yoko for that. But I don't appreciate her music. I don't appreciate what she did with John or without him. But B-side, the next one up here, we've got Whatever Gets You Through the Night, 1974. And the B side of this one being a song called Beef Jerky, which is also John Lennon. So, he was doing better there in the beginning, I guess, with him singing on both sides of the singles. But we'll get up to one here soon. It's going to have Yoko on the B side. Trust me, there was a lot of them that were that way. Here we got John Lennon with the Plastic Ono Band doing Mother. And the B side of this is Why, which is Yoko Ono. So I could definitely question that myself. Why, John, why? But we know why. He loved the woman. He loved her, and it was clear that he loved her. And, I'm glad that he was happy in his years shortly before his life was ended way too soon. But this is a nice picture sleeve with a couple shots of them. Thankfully, they have clothes on. If you know John Lennon and you know his history, you know why I said that and what the joke is about there. But nobody told me there'd be days like this. 1983, from the album Milk and Honey, a Heart Play. Never seen the subtitle of that, a Heart Play. I know it is Milk and Honey, but I've never known it to be called a Heart Play. That's interesting take on things there. And then this is a complete and total waste of vinyl, in my opinion. Oh Sanity by Yoko Ono. It's 1 minute and 4 seconds. I mean, look at this sucker. And it's interesting how it's all out at the end. They could have centered it up a little bit maybe, but a lot of dead wax there. Opportunity for me to say hello. It's been a while probably since you've seen my reflection in a disc. Not because I've been trying to avoid it, just because it just hasn't happened. But here's Woman, which is a really, really great song off of that album. And Beautiful Boys. That wasn't off of Milk and Honey. That was off of Double Fantasy. Yeah. So Beautiful Boys is not Beautiful Boy by John Lennon. That's not a typo. That's Beautiful Boys. It's Yoko Ono singing about her husband and her son. But Woman is definitely an awesome song to have. Here, we'll show you that lower corner just in case you want to see the info that's printed on there. But here we've got the label for John Lennon's Woman and Beautiful Boys by Yoko. He's just sitting there watching the wheels go round and round. And it's a little bit out of A to Z sequence, but Julian Lennon here, Too Late for Goodbyes. Really, really great song by Julian. And it's noted as being written by Julian. I had always heard stories about how John left him, a stack of songs and that Volette burned them off. I'm not sure that's true. I'm not sure if there's a song on Volette that's done by John Lennon at all. In fact, that story is something that I've wanted to look up a number of times and have never thought about it when I was near a computer. So the B-side here is Let Me Be, which is also written by Julian. So Julian sounded a lot like his dad. I don't know what happened to him. That would be interesting to look up and see. Maybe he got into producing or something, because I have not heard anything at all from Julian Lennon in a long, long time. All right, now we got John Sebastian doing his Welcome Back Kotter theme song. Do, 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 do. You know the show, you know the song, I'm sure. It was a great show for a couple of seasons. Ran for 4 seasons. The last season didn't have Gabe Kaplan in it, which was kind of weird. It's kind of like Laverne and Shirley with no Shirley. You had Welcome Back Kotter with no Kotter. Oh, man. What they will do for the mighty dollar. Just milk it to the living end. But it still had some decent, interesting episodes in that 4th season. I wasn't watching it back in the day. I watched the first couple seasons, and then by the time I got into it, I was out and about doing things. But B-side here is a song called Warm Baby, which I do not recognize either. 1976. So, yeah, Welcome Back Kotter was a fun show in the beginning, and I do believe that was where John Travolta got his start, was on that show. All right, now here you've got John Travolta with Olivia Newton-John doing You're the One That I Want, ooh, 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 from Grease. Ooh, 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 baby. And the B-side of this is Alone at a Drive-In Movie, which is an instrumental song off of the Grease soundtrack. I love Grease. I don't care what anybody says or thinks. Grease was a fun movie. I'm not a huge into musical kind of guy. I do like 50 theme stuff, and I thought Grease was pretty good. And Grease Lightning here by John Travolta, I was never even aware that there was a controversy over these lyrics until just a year and a half ago, when my boss at work pointed out that the original lyrics for Grease Lightning get a little nasty about, rolling around in the back seat and stuff. I guess they've changed those lyrics for school plays and things, but yeah, go back and look up the original lyrics to Grease Lightning. It's a little risky in parts. B-side of this is Rock and Roll Is Here to Stay by Sha Na Na. And that was on the Grease soundtrack, and that's why you've got two different bands on the 45, because it's very common on movie soundtracks to have different artists on the A and B side, because they're promoting a movie soundtrack, not an artist or their album. So, and I've said things about country and western over some of these videos. I hate the twangy stuff, the nasally stuff, and some of this newer stuff. I've even heard some rap that they called country, and it just doesn't do it for me. I don't care for rap or country, so you're not going to blend the two and make me a fan, that's for sure. But some of this old classic stuff, like Johnny Cash, Ring of Fire, I love it. I like Johnny Cash. My dad was a huge Johnny Cash fan, and Johnny was cool. Johnny was all right. It's interesting how Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers helped him do his final album. It's basically a Heartbreakers album with Johnny Cash instead of Tom Petty. But that's a whole nother story. B-side of this being I'd Still Be There. All right. Now, next up, we've got Johnny Horton doing North to Alaska, which was a great John Wayne film. A little bit more on the comedy side, but I love John Wayne, and that's one of his really great movies. And the B-side of this being The Mansion You Stole. All right, well, that's going to wrap up episode 26. I hope you're enjoying the series, and I hope you come back for more. I'll be here.